Merry Christmas! I hope you're doing great. This year has been turbulent, it has been frustrating, and we're all weary. And let's face it, this has not been a good, fun year. But it is Christmas time. It is a time when we remember some really important things that happened 2,000 years ago. When we remember that Christ came to give us hope, to bring healing, and to be among us. Now, everyone has had a very different Christmas this year. I'm used to my Christmas celebrations being things like running lights for 3 or 4 services in one day, and guiding groups on the trail at an event called Journey to Bethlehem for 3 nights in a row. So I'm used to busyness. I'm used to keeping track of things and making sure that, okay, we need to be ready to hit this button now, or we need to be ready to get moving now, or we need to wait and not move yet, you know. And there's still moments of calm in the middle of that. You know, there's still moments when you are waiting for groups to gather, or in between services when you're just sitting there talking with people, or during the message in the service you're able to just sit there and listen. You don't have to worry about cues. You know, you've got 15 or 20 minutes to just sit there, listen to the message, and just enjoy that. This year, I haven't really had any of that. And so I've been struggling with how am I going to really celebrate Christmas this year. I have, oddly enough, I've been reading through Jeremiah from the middle of November to just a couple of days ago, reading a chapter a night from Jeremiah. And last night I read Matthew's exploration of Jesus' birth and his exposition of what happened in this story. I've watched a few Christmas movies over the last few weeks that I had never seen before, like the Christmas Chronicles. I've watched a couple that I had seen before. And today, it's late at night on Christmas Eve. Today, I watched the Star Wars Holiday Special, the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special. Not the old one, but the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special, which is much better than the old Star Wars Holiday Special, which I did see on YouTube quite a few years ago. And I also watched the Muppet Christmas Carol. That was good. I grew up with that one. I've seen it many times. And at 7 o'clock tonight, we watched my church's airing of their Christmas Eve service. They aired it 4 times today, and we chose the 7 o'clock time slot. But, so as I've been reflecting on what I've been reading and what I've been viewing over these last few weeks, specifically focused on what I've viewed today with the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special and with the Muppet Christmas Carol. In the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special, we find it in the sequel trilogy, or after the sequel trilogy, when Rey is trying to train Finn in the Force. Now, I don't necessarily think that the Lego Star Wars offerings are canon, but in this case it could be a what-if moment. And although I would love Finn to get some training in the Force, because I think that's what he was trying to tell her in the last movie. But she is frustrated because she feels like she's not teaching Finn anything, and she can't get it. And while she's trying to figure things out, she finds some information about a Jedi temple where she can get power from her past to see into the future. And essentially it's a time travel story. and it's really fun, and you see all snippets from all sorts of movies and The Mandalorian as well. And in between all of that, you're seeing the rest of the crew trying to get ready for Life Day and celebrate Life Day as well. So what she finds is that she keeps seeing all these snippets. She keeps missing the point. And finally, Yoda appears as a force spirit and tells her, "Missing the point you are." And says, "What do all of these situations have in common?" And he showed her images of all these masters and apprentices together. And she wasn't getting it. He said, "What you're not seeing is relationship. All of these images are masters and their Padawans and their apprentices in relationship, in friendship together." And it had completely gone over her head up until that point. And she realized, oh. And at that point, she managed to fix all the things that had gone wrong with her travels, and then went back under a new realization that she'd actually hurt Finn's feelings and had not really been great at that moment. So the reason I bring that up, people often say, well, why doesn't God just yell out loudly for the whole world to hear, "I am God," or why doesn't he do this or this? You know, he could have done that. He's God. If he wanted to just yell, he could have done that. Jesus is known by some as a teacher. But if he wanted to just teach, if all he wanted to do was teach, he could have done that without being born as a baby. He could have done that without the angels telling the shepherds all about this baby being born. He could have done that without all the prophecies about him. But that's not what he chose to do. He chose, Jesus as an eternal member of the Holy Trinity chose, under the direction of God the Father, to come to earth, to be born as a human, to be both fully God and fully human, to go through the pains of childhood and the craziness of learning and growing. And he chose to come and be Immanuel. In fact, when the angel appeared to Joseph in his dream, when Joseph was considering, or just after that, Matthew records, all of this is taking place, this craziness. Why God is coming like this? To fulfill a prophecy. Back in Isaiah 7:14 said, "The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel," which means God with us. And God with us is the important thing there. He wanted to come, and he wanted to be part of life on earth. Not just from afar, not just yell and teach at us from afar. He wanted to come and be with us. Now, he could have just spoken through more prophets. He already had a lot of prophets. He could have done that. He could have brought up more prophets. He could have said, "Okay, John the Baptist, here's everything that needs to be taught, and you just go and teach it." He could have done that. He chose not to. He chose to come and be Emmanuel, God with us. And that is the single most amazing thing about Christmas, is God coming down and choosing to bear the form of humanity, to leave the glory of the throne room and come and be among us as a person, and go through the same normal stuff we go through, to eat, to go through the weird parts of life, like a skimmed knee and going to the bathroom. He came to experience all of that with us, and to meet with us, and eventually to die for us a very painful death, so that if you trust in him, you will find salvation, not just a ticket into heaven, but salvation from sin. And so he came, and he came and walked among us. Now today, as I was watching the Muppet Christmas Carol, it came to the point at the end of the movie where Scrooge had made his turning point. He's been visited by all three of the spirits. And that's key. They visited him. They didn't just send him a letter. They didn't come and whack him on the head. They came and spent time with him. And, you know, as I saw Scrooge going through this change at the end of the movie, I had this thought that for some reason I had not thought before, and you would think with all the versions of A Christmas Carol I have watched and been a part of that I would have thought of this. But Scrooge is Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus the tax collector that climbed up into a tree and looked to see where Jesus was as the crowd went by, that Jesus said, "Hey Zacchaeus, come down. Today I'm going to meet with you." And Zacchaeus said, here on now, I pay back all the people I have robbed, and I'm going to give all my extras to the poor, and I'm going to be a changed man. That was Scrooge. He saw his past and what had led him to the point he was at. He saw the people around him and the pain and the fear that he was causing. He saw his future of dying and having no one to cry for him and no one to be in pain for him. And in seeing all of these things, with the help of people, with the help of spirits walking with him through all of that, he made a change. And so Ebenezer Scrooge is Zacchaeus, the tax collector. And he made this change. And so Scrooge gives his employees a raise. He goes and visits his nephew and actually spends time with his nephew. He starts giving more to the poor. And even in that version, in the Muppet Christmas Carol, he purposely tells the charity leaders, "Hey, I'm giving extra because I know I've missed so much that I should have given. So I'm giving extra now." But this change happened because these spirits came and spent time with him, walking through all of this stuff with him. And Jesus came. He was born as a baby to a virgin, so that he could grow up with humanity, feel our pain, know our problems, die to pay the price for our sins. And in the process of all of that, he gave us teachings. He healed people who were blind. He brought people back from the dead, and eventually he resurrected from the dead himself. And that is the amazing thing about Christmas, is God choosing to come in human form. That is why we celebrate it every year. So be thinking about this. If you have never trusted Jesus to save you from your sin, I encourage you just to talk to him. To say, "Jesus, I've messed up. I have sinned. I've missed the mark. And at other times I've rebelled against you knowingly. And I need you. Please come in, cleanse me of my sin, and change me." And that's all you need to begin, is just to talk to him. And if you're not sure where to go from there, you can send me a message and we can talk about that. But Jesus came to earth to experience the craziness of being a human for you. Okay? So I hope that your Christmas is more merry than a Pippin could ever be, that it is full of rest. I pray that you have an amazing New Year, even if it's a calm celebration, or a more calm celebration than normal, that you have a wonderful New Year. And here's to 2021, and may God come and be among us and minister to us in ways that we do not ever expect. So, Merry Christmas.